Asian stocks gain as investors brace for U.S. inflation facts. Hong Kong, Tokyo stocks made slight gains throughout Asia on Wednesday whilst the euro hovered just above parity against the dollar as investors awaited a surprisingly expected U.S. inflation file later within the global day. Futures were down in advance of European markets beginning on Wednesday morning. FTSE futures slipped 0.24% whilst Pan-region Euro Stoxx 50 futures fell 0.46%. MSCI's broadest index of Asia-Pacific stocks out of doors Japan gained 0.66%, snapping 2 directly days of losses, after having slumped to its lowest in 2 years the day earlier than. Taiwanese shares led the profits after Taiwan's finance ministry said on Tuesday night it might set off its inventory stabilization fund. The marketplace had fallen to a 19-month low that day. Aviation elements manufacturer Aero Wind Technology Corp turned into the pleasant performer these days, up 10%. Japan's Nikkei became up 0.37% after losing nearly 2% the day prior to this. But most moves felt insubstantial beforehand of the discharge of U.S. inflation information for June, which economists polled by expect to have elevated by way of 8.8% on an annual foundation, a 40-year height. A excessive inflation print might probably be studied by using the U.S. Federal Reserve as a sign it needs to retain with competitive hobby charge rises to get on top of surging fees, even though this could push the economic system into recession. The Fed accelerated charges with the aid of a supersized 75 basis points in its ultimate assembly. Sharp OTC, SHCAY, weak point in oil expenditures in July shows that June's inflation can also mark a peak, however. If so, the maximum dynamic section of Fed tightening could conclude with a 75 bits per second fee upward thrust on the 27th of July, said analysts at ANZ. However, our expectation is that underlying energy in core inflation and nevertheless deeply negative real policy quotes way 50 bits per second fee rises will nonetheless be appropriate after the summertime. Underscoring the global inflation issues, South Korea's central financial institution on Wednesday raised costs by means of 50 foundation factors, the largest boom since the bank followed its modern coverage system in 1999, and New Zealand's crucial financial institution additionally improved charges via the equal amount. Worries that higher prices ought to sluggish worldwide monetary increase were a main element in stock market declines this year. Even as in foreign money markets, the main effect has been to boost the safe haven dollar. The euro became at $1.00350 on Wednesday, as traders remained focused on whether it might fall underneath $1 for the first time considering that 2002. It dropped to just a whisker away on Tuesday, falling as little as $1.00005. The dollar turned into also company on other peers, and its index degree towards major competitors was preserving solidly at 108.27. The U.S. benchmark 10-year yield became 2.9724%, having traded both side of 3% for the ultimate week. Oil expenditures paused their in a single-day declines. Brent crude became little modified at $99.60 a barrel with U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude at $95.89. Leading cryptocurrency Bitcoin turned into up 0.23% and seemed on the right track to snap a 3-day losing streak, although at $19,478.89 turned into nevertheless trading underneath the important thing psychological $20,000 mark.